Good evening, everyone. It's August the 24th, 2024. I just want to give you a little bit of an update on the last video that I put up there, on the update that I had done. I've got a little more of an update on the update here, and it's difficult sometimes when you're seeing things just over the TV on the news, getting all the details and that. Well, I got yesterday's paper. It came out of what the province, our health minister for Ontario here, was doing about the on the drug use sites, and so I want to read this, and then I'll discuss it a little bit afterwards. And it's out of our Sun paper, our newspaper. So this is what it's saying here. Two Ontario government commission reports recommended keeping existing drug compensation sites open across the province, increasing funding to stabilize staffing, and hiring permanent security guards to boost safety. But the health minister decided against that guidance. Instead, Health Minister Sylvie Jones announced this week that the government would ban supervised consumption sites near schools and prohibit new ones from opening in the future, with the Premier defending the move on Wednesday. The province is shifting to a treatment-focused model. The government said as it moves away from supervised consumption. The new rules will mean that the closure of 10 such sites across Ontario. Two reviews released by the province this week suggested a number of ways to improve community safety in the sites. But Jones cited higher crime rates and concerns from neighbors and parents as reasons to do away with supervised consumption sites near schools. The changes came after the province initiated several reviews of its 17 consumption and treatment service sites following the killing of a bystander near a Toronto site. Carolina Huber, I can't pronounce her last name, had been walking through her southeast Toronto neighborhood of Leslieville shortly after noon on July 7th, 2023, when she was shot as a fight broke out between three alleged drug dealers. Last fall, the province appointed Jill Campbell, the former chief nursing executive at Toronto Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, to take over the operations of the South Riverdale Community Health Centre, near where this lady was shot. In the spring, Campbell filed a report to the province that included a number of recommendations on how to proceed with consumption and treatment service sites. Campbell recommended expansion on harm reduction, including consumption sites and safety supply of drugs to prevent further accidental substance use, death, and provide additional safer treatment options for substance users across the spectrum of substance illness. She also recommended that the province provide funding for security guards at sites that are within 200 meters of schools, and that the government give more money to the sites to recruit and retain staff. Campbell further recommended an expansion of treatment beds. Evidence shows that consumption treatment services are a necessary public health service implemented to save lives and prevent accidental overdose deaths related to substance use, Campbell wrote. Healthcare officials, including the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario, have warned of deaths as a result of shutting down drug consumption sites. Now, what I can say on this, and I've come back, and I have to go back, way back with Julie, when we talked about the consumption sites were given out right at the shelter and that, and we've seen stabbings, and definitely in Lower Town here in the area, we've seen drive-by shootings and people being stabbed and pulling out knives, and people being threatened, and this is through the drug dealers. So this is where they always hang around, the dealers, around the consumption sites, because people go in, they come back out, they've been looked after, they're okay, but they're there to sell the drugs. So for me, I think when I look, and with my last video too, I was talking about the serious mental health state that our children are finding themselves in. I think it's a smart thing to put a buffer zone around definitely the schools and certainly daycare areas where we have children, because there's so much pressure on the children right now. I'm hearing more and more reports of just the mental health of our children, and the federal government has pulled more tobacco products out of the just the ordinary gas stations and stores and stuff where they can go and get a high. And this is what the tobacco companies are doing as well, is they want children with all these different flavored stuff that they have for the tobacco to get hooked for the rest of their lives. So the federal government has also pulled this out of certain stores that can no longer sell these products starting next week as well. So I think this may be on the right track. There's still a lot of work to do. I know there's a lot of controversy about it. I keep hearing it, how many deaths are going to be. But I'm still seeing people as I walk down the street shooting up. So how many people do they really save when you compare the streets to them doing the overdoses on the street and even the consumption sites? So to me, we have to come up with a better model. I think we're doing some of the right things. I think security guards definitely should be hired. But the problem here again is, as I said in the last video, it's all, who's paying for all this? The taxpayers. That's the bottom line. And we're paying for a lot right now because there's so much that is wrong that we're dealing with today. For the children, for the overdoses, inflation, the cost of living is just going right through the roof. I know that. You know, the rent evictions, all the different problems that we're facing today. Somewhere we've got to put some brakes on. And for me, I think it's time we start having to show some tough love. And that's one of the things that I remember coming out when I was raising my children, this idea of tough love. Well, maybe we need to use that there's going to be consequences for doing things that are wrong. Like, just for an example, my parents would say, well, if you're going to rob a bank, then you're going to have to pay the consequences. So you do the crime, you do the time. And I grew up with that. But there's no consequences for what they're doing to our streets and our buildings here. And well, again, by next month, the cameras, everything will be set up here for certain. That'll be an experiment there. And there's a lot more that's going to be coming out because it's starting to come out now. And of course, we'll know more once the politicians and everyone gets back in September from school and that, from their vacation. But I also wanted to note that tonight on the homeless in Nova Scotia and Cape Breton, they're setting up some pallet shelters. They're just coming in with them now. They laid the groundwork down for it. So the shelters are coming in. And it's going to be, it's a social experiment, as they put it. And they're hoping to have them in place by mid-September, which will give some people on the streets a shelter, at least a place to lie down and be in overnight for sure. So that's going to be interesting. I'm sure we're going to hear more about that in the spring. So things are still continuing. So I'm not going to keep it very long tonight, but as I hear things, and I'll be coming back and forth, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of update of what I've heard. And there's a lot of discussion that's going to be coming up on these consumption sites right now of taking them away. So it'll be interesting to see what comes forth in the next little while. So everyone, take care, be safe, watch your surroundings, and we shall talk again soon. And bye-bye. Take care.